heading out to do a little bit of mountain biking today and figured I'd knock out a video for you guys real quick. But first things first, gotta stop and get some gas because, you know, V8 4runner and everything. Why did I choose the Goodyear Duratrac for the 4runner? First of all, these tires are awesome. I'm super happy with them. And really, I didn't actually choose them for the 4runner. I had them on my WJ Grand Cherokee that I had before this, in a smaller size. They were only 31s, these are 33s. And I was so happy with them on that vehicle that when I had to get tires for this thing, I just automatically knew that's what I was going to get. So I chose the Duratracs for a few reasons, but mainly it just came down to it's overall just a really livable tire for an off-road one. These are pretty aggressive, and for day-to-day use on a daily driver, which is what my 4runner is, they're really easy to live with. The biggest thing for me is that they're a year-round tire. They're actually rated for like extreme winter use, just like a snow tire. And that's a pretty big deal for me because I don't want to be switching back and forth on sets of wheels and tires every season. A lot of people in this part of Canada run separate snow tires if you're not familiar with what life is like up north here. And I didn't want to do that. My whole purpose for having an SUV for a daily driver and a 4x4 is because it's pretty much ready for anything. So I like the fact that I can leave these on year round. Another thing that I love about these tires is I'm on the highway right now, and they're super quiet for what they are. Like, I mean, they're not as quiet as a car tire, but I don't know if you can hear, I don't know if the wind noise will be too bad there, but you can hear they're not making a whole lot of noise at all. Compared to a mud tire, they're pretty good. For an off-road tire, these things are actually pretty quiet on the highway. You're probably hearing a lot of wind noise right now. I've got all the windows down and rear window down, and they're not just screaming or anything like some of the mud tires do. These things are actually pretty quiet on the highway, which is a big plus. So if you just took one look at them from the outside, you'd think these are a pretty loud tire by the design, but they're not. Now I noticed one thing compared to the smaller tires that I had on my Jeep. Those were 245s and these are 285s, and these ones are noticeably louder than the smaller size was, the skinnier footprint. So that's something to take into consideration if you are shopping for these tires. Now my 4runner is certainly not a show truck by any means. It's my daily driver first and foremost, but I drive it in all conditions, summer, winter, everything. I take it off-road from time to time. Days like today I'm taking it mountain biking. So I do have the need for an off-road tire, and this thing, I haven't done a lot of crazy off-roading, but these tires really do well. Mud, sand, rocks, I haven't really put them through a lot of rock, a whole lot of rocky terrain, but I have heard people say online that the sidewalls are a little weak for really sharp rocks, and so it's, if you're going to be hitting the Rubicon or something with them, then you might have some trouble there. With anything with kind of sharp rocks that want to slice your sidewalls, these ones are not as great as some of the other tires out there for that, but for my type of off-roading that I do, not only do they work great, but I've never actually been in a situation where I had to use the center diff lock on this thing. Just full-time all-wheel drive mode, and this thing will crawl its way out of anything. So far so good with that. I don't take it wheeling like every single weekend, hardcore or anything, but from what I have done, they've done really well. And whether you want to make fun of me or not, part of the good thing about these tires is they look cool. They look like an off-road tire, like they look like a mud tire. A lot of the all-terrain tires, they've got like a kind of a plain looking sidewall on them. They look more like a really big sized car tire, but these things look aggressive. And so I like that. They look good when they're cleaned up. They look good when they're dirty. Not that that's really something to base your shopping on an off-road tire on, but it's something. And these tires balance no problem. As you can see, I've got no hand on the steering wheel, doing 80K, no shaking, no nothing. They did take a lot of weight. That could be partly because of the method wheels that I have on here. I'm not sure which one of those was the cause of that. But they did need quite a bit of weight on them to balance, but then they did balance. And for anybody that isn't familiar with my setup, I'm running 17-inch method standards. There's, I think, 17 by 8.5, 0 offset, and I believe 4 3/4 inch back spacing. And then this is a 285/70/17 tire, which works out to be pretty close to a 33-inch. And these don't rub at all on here after I did all my trimming. I know somebody commented on one of my other videos that they thought it looked like it was rubbing, but no, I've got 0 rubbing at all with these. But I did have to do quite a bit of trimming. I did another video on that though, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, in the end, these tires are really livable for driving in the city, on the road and everything, and they perform awesome off-road, snow and ice. A lot of mud tires, you'll hear people say that they're awesome in the snow, and snow and winter driving are two completely different animals. Deep snow, yeah, any off-road tire that's good in the mud is going to be fine in deep snow. But it's the hard-packed and icy conditions that you get on the streets during the winter months that a tire that doesn't have the amount of siping that the Duratrac has, all of those big tread blocks turn into tiny little racing slicks and you're just all over the place with a mud tire. Whereas these, honestly, in my opinion, they perform almost as good as a dedicated winter tire, at least from my experience, in real world winter driving conditions. So I'm just getting to the hydro cut here now. This is my first time here this year for mountain biking, and kind of ashamed to admit that I haven't been able to get out for a ride as often as I wanted to this year, but I'm here now, so never too late to get going, I guess. I'm gonna check these trails out and see what they're looking like this year. I think they made a lot of changes in the off season and built some new trails and fixed some existing ones, but yeah, the Duratrac overall, it's a great tire. It's a really well-rounded tire, which means it's not like amazing or the best at anything. It's not as good in the mud as a mud tire, and it's not as good in the winter as a winter tire, and it's definitely not as good on the road as a regular car tire. But it combines all of those aspects really well, and I still think it's better than any of the other tires on the market right now. So there you go. Well, I gotta say that went pretty alright. I only had 3 or 4 heart attacks, so didn't die. That's good. Definitely a little rusty though, so no more excuses. I gotta get back out on the trails more often. So I'm gonna head home and probably give this thing a bath real quick. I might actually try using Bead Maker as a drying aid with Optimum No Rinse and see what that does for a failed ceramic coating like this one, just to see what it does to bring any water beading back or not. I might test that out. This thing needs a lot of TLC though. This thing, I'm gonna have to redo the coating, which means at least a minor paint correction. Needs a little general maintenance. I gotta do an oil change and rotate the tires and crap like that. I'm kind of considering doing a series on giving this thing the TLC that it needs, and going through everything, fixing the paint, fixing the ceramic coating. I might even start with oil spraying the undercarriage, getting it ready for the winter time and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I might do like a multi-part series with that, so let me know in the comments if you guys want to see something like that. That's about all I've got for this one for you though, guys, so thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.